is Tuesday. Wish it was Wednesday already. I don't know about you guys, but these weeks have been going by weirdly. Sometimes it feels like it's too fast, other times it feels like it's way, way too slow. I'm gonna put my tweet out. Now, for those of you that have been joining us this month, you'll know that we've been working pretty heavily on working on the CBDC monthly project. I think we currently have about 4 or 5 others that are working on theirs. Some of them have given me the full information as far as like what the plot character name is and that kind of stuff, but not everybody has. So if you are working on a CBDC project for this month, don't forget to get me at least the name of the character that the project is located on, so that once we do the showcase on the 28th, I at least know where to head. It would be helpful too if you could specify if it's on NA or EU side, just to make it a little easier on me, but it's not completely necessary. I'm sure I can figure it out eventually. Yeah, just don't want to miss anyone that has been working on a project, and if they don't get me the name to it, I won't know where to actually go to be able to show it. As well, at least one has shared the code with a fellow builder that wanted to participate. That is allowed. It's not like you have to specifically get it from me. If you know of someone that has already gotten a copy and they're easier to get a hold of for you than I am, that's perfectly acceptable, as long as you let me know that you've gotten it, so that I can again keep track of who's in the mix of things. Good morning, Poi. Glad you could join us. Man, I can't talk this morning. I'm like still half asleep. Sorry. Okay, so yesterday we were working on the little pond, and I've been giving some thought to this. I haven't like messed with it since we were here yesterday, but as is the habit, I'm constantly, brainstorming in my head. And we were talking about doing like custom cattails. Now, I don't think this would be a practical idea for this particular use, but like if you're doing like a painting of a pond, one thing I thought of that might could be used as the little poofy part is the purple pillow, the long one. It does have the little tassel on it, but the purple roll, that might actually work as a little cattail poof. What you would use as the actual like grassy part, I'm not sure. Maybe just regular grass patches or something, and have like some maybe some leafy stalks or something sticking out. The issue is again picking things that don't move, as opposed to that are animated if you're doing a painting, that kind of thing. So like I'm guessing, yeah, these dye up pretty well. The rusted bit might not be the right color. This is probably the closest, the red, unfortunately. But that's probably the best item for shape. So if you're not worried about how weird the the cattail looks as far as color, this might be close. The yellow is a little bit brown. Yeah, I think the yellow works best as far as coloring goes, but that was the only thing I could think of. This probably also work good for like sausages or like a hot dog or something, for those looking for kind of like a Frankfurter looking shape. Looks like a pickle. Even has the little spots like a pickle kind of thing. So just strangely coming up with different ideas that you might could use for. Yeah, pickles and hot dogs and cattails for this particular item. I actually really like the pickle idea. to be honest. I'll have to remember that and make it like a jar of pickles or something. Anyway, so I was trying to think of some other things that we could add to this little pond. I've already said that I want to probably put in more greenery and grasses here along the backside, and leave it pretty bare up at the front, seeing as how that would be where whoever's keeping the garden would be trimming things, but on the backside it might be a little bit on the overgrown side. Now we added our own custom lily pads made out of green pillows. If you don't want to go custom, that's perfectly fine. We've got several lily pad items. There's the one that's, I think it's a random world drop that you can get. There's also those from the waterfall decor pack from the cash shop that has several different versions. But if you're wanting to kind of dress it up yourself, we came up with this alternative. Now, I thought about adding a frog, but to be honest, I probably would have used the green pillows for a green frog. But I don't think it would work well because I've already used them for the lily pads, because then they're kind of uh, the same color. They kind of blend in, and it might be a little confusing. Hey Bones, good morning. And anyone else that happens to be lurking around, it's not that I'm ignoring you. I just don't check the chat listing to see who's sitting around. So I was trying to think of other things that you could use for uh, froggy shapes. You could just find a different item and maybe try tinting it like the purple pill, turning it green and using that as what you use to construct your frog from. Again, the main problem with a lot of the pillows is the tassels that come with them. But like, trying to think, like maybe yeah, doing like that, like coloring a stone or something, a shade of green, and then coming up with a froggy bit. The main thing is I would probably build the critter first. I would check to see if the tinting shows up well enough on it. Obviously, you want to do that first. But I wouldn't bother coloring it until I was actually done. I kind of did the same thing with the little piggy bank. I built it. I checked to see if the tint would work. Then I built it, and then I tinted it after it was built. It's easier for me to do it that way than to be tinting each piece as I go. Um, so yeah, find an item that you think has a nice texture or shape that you're looking for. This looks a little clunky, sharp, so maybe I wouldn't use this one in particular, but you know, say you're going to use like the, maybe you want to tint the snow clump instead, have a smoother green poofy bit to use. But again, because I'm already using the green pillows for the lily pads, I'm thinking frogs probably won't stand out so much, especially if I try to put it on top of a bigger lily pad as like a little bit of a showcase. So I was trying to think of something else that I might do. And the only other thing I can think of, other than if you have a clear looking pond, if you choose a different type of water for your pond where it's actually see-through, and you're going to like put fish in or something, the only other critter I can think of is a duck, like ducklings or something like that. So I've been trying to find items that might work that I could tint to the right color. Obviously you want them to be yellow, so I don't know what's going to work for that, to be honest. We have yellow pillows, but they're more orange looking to me. And I'm just not sure, because you could see like the pillow, uh, the green one, it didn't really tint to, it just looks kind of like an off green to me. that doesn't change hardly at all. I think it's the band-aid strips or little patches on it that change mostly with the color. That just looks sickly looking. Ugh. Um, the domes, even they look kind of drabby looking, so I don't know, maybe the yellow duckling isn't a good idea. I know I would probably prefer to use tires to shape a lot of my critters, but again, those don't tint very well because they're already dark in color to begin with. And mostly what's really showing up as change is that little silver rim inside. I mean, you can see there's a little bit of color change, but not, I mean, that's definitely not bright yellow like you would expect. So I'm really not sure what kind of critter we could put together. I guess I could try just doing a frog just to show you if you decide to do, you know, maybe I need to tint these a little different color. I have no idea, but morning, Aurora. Now, I know someone else has done a frog. I've seen at least one other. There might be a few more, but we'll see if we can come up with something. Not really sure. Because I know the pillows, especially the green ones, are a little hard to work with because they're not turned like you would expect, kind of at an angle. So I would probably start off with like that's the back body part. Let me just pull up a picture of a frog because I know I'm gonna get this wrong. You could maybe do turtle. Turtle might work as well. Or if you don't want to do the water pack that has the little dragonflies, you could just make a little dragonfly yourself. I've done several of those, so that would probably be pretty easy to shrink down and use it as like maybe it's sitting on the rock here. Looking for a good, really rough looking frog picture. So I have an idea of what I'm trying to build. Guess we'll just no idea if this is gonna look right. A lot of times when I'm building these things, it's just a lot of experimenting as far as placement, how I turn it, that kind of thing. Those that have been with me in the past when I've tried to put things together know for a fact that I uh, I'm very quick to scrub things because I end up not liking how it looks. Yeah, I'm trying to make a frog. I don't know how well it's going to turn out, but we'll attempt it. Like I said, I'm sure others have done it and done it successfully as compared to this, but we're going to give it a shot. A very simple looking froggy. Excuse me. This part of it is I'm trying to not pick out too much on the rock itself, and that's not working all that great. That needs to be higher. I'm not sure. Not that one. Let's see. Give him some. What color are frog eyes? I'm gonna do it cartoony. I guess it'd be like some white with a little spot of black. So maybe oh, that's a big eyeball. Now remember, because it's small, that means it's gonna not show up very well at a distance. changed it. Something like that. You could like, uh, put out one of those dragonflies and like have a little red tongues flashing out, I guess. I don't know. You'd have to like use a bunch of those little red firecracker things, I guess, to have it snapping out there. There's little froggy. Again, if you're using a different lily pad type of item, you might could get away with using the light colored frog on a darker lily pad or vice versa. You darken up the frog, but I think that'll work for froggy. It's very minimalistic there, but a lot of these details, sometimes it's just, can someone guess what that's supposed to be? If they can get it pretty, quickly or uh, eventually, then I guess it's not too bad. Um, for a duck, gosh, I don't know. Probably go with that stone. Maybe we'll just make like a stone duck or something in here. Yeah, he looks like he's smiling, doesn't he? Looks a little crooked actually. Let me just move his mouth there. Okay, so for the duck, let's see. Let's use sandstone, I guess. Maybe that'll look yellow enough, just for starters. So again, let's get this kind of straightened up. Keep in mind, this might look good from one side, but not necessarily from the other. So if you know you're wanting your visitors to be kind of looking at it from a particular direction, start there and then go from that. So let's see. See, I like the shape here. It looks like a good body shape, but you can see that it's obviously not going to have that same shape on the other side. Again, this would be easier if you're just doing a painting version rather than a big three-dimensional thing here. Oh, is it? Let me see. Snowy. Snow dusted. Yeah. Yeah, that could work too. I'm gonna go ahead and just stick with this one though, since it's not have to worry about coloring. I mean the snow. She said, I'd really like to find a, let me see, maybe one of the swirly rocks. The rock, or is it? Let's try the. Yeah, I already changed my mind. Maybe we'll pretend it's a duck statue or something in this, like a fountain type thing almost, circulating the water. Let's once we get this one and this one here. And this is one of those, can you get the pieces to fit up right? I had the same trouble when I was trying to work with the stone for trying to make like statues and stuff for our museum bit. I was like really frustrated because I couldn't get the stones to fit the way I wanted them to. Because you know, they're irregular shaped and all that fun stuff. Yeah, a bird bath would be a good idea. Um, probably come up with that pretty easily. In fact, I can imagine somebody making it out of like a plate and having like several tiers or something, or some. You're not going for white or stone, you could probably get some of those hover part pieces. Those would probably work really well. It's probably not going to turn into a duck. I already sense it. It'll look weird. It's really hard to get the shapes just right. This is like the toughest thing to work with, I swear. What in the world? By the time I'm done, I'll probably cover up that first initial stone and only need the two. Looking more like just a regular bird than a duck. A very misshapen duck. 'Cause again, it's really hard to get the shape the same from both sides. It looks fine here, but not so much this way. Put that down a little bit. Let's see, that's still not exactly right. Uh, one. It's like a totally different thing depending on which way you look. Oh gosh. Maybe I should start out different. Let me try it this way. Because I'm sure you can see how the shape isn't exactly the same depending on which way you turn it. So it's hard to match it from left to right or however you want to say it. Let me yeah, it looks not so bad this way. So if I took a screenshot, I have to make sure I take it from the right direction because that's just pitiful looking. So like that looks kind of uniform, but it's when I go to flip it, it looks very strange. So let me see if I can find a better way of doing that. Let's, notice I'm just copying it. I'm leaving this one here so I don't mess it up. And see if we can a little better shape going here. Yeah, one-eyed duck. That's true. No, that's not quite working right either, is it? There's no getting around it. You can only do it from the one side that looks normal or normal-er than the other. It's like a baby head. Like crooked there. Oh, the poor thing. Was sad. Like misshapen little bird. I think I like this one better. I think because I played with the shape there with the lines. Can't tell if that's that or maybe it's big. A little bit better. Still kind of leaning, isn't he? Yeah, kind of frustrating, isn't it? Because even if I flip this one over, I don't think it would, the shape would be wrong. And see, it starts protruding there and kind of weirder. I just don't think that will work. So what I'll do is maybe I'll push it up more close to the rocks or something, so less inclined for people. But I really need to fix his leany kind of. Um, let's, I don't know if I can get all these pieces together. I'm gonna keep this one, just maybe later I'll decide to tinker with it some more and fix it maybe. At all. Just stick him over here for now. I don't know, still doesn't look right. Maybe this is too big. No, it has to be that big. Little bottom body is that big, isn't it? I don't know, something like that. If you're looking for a fountain though, maybe the I wouldn't use the spooky one. That might look a little weird, but of course it really depends if you're going for spooky romance or something, you know, that's possible. But if you're wanting to like I guess you could change the colors of these if you really wanted it to be more like a critter type of thing, but I think we'll keep it as like a stone little thing that's in the pond. It's just he won't look very good from this side. This side he looks like a mutant thingy. Uh, what else? Fish. I would probably stick with either the plushies of the things like the shellac that looks kind of like the turtle thing. There's the gar for the alligators if you want a kind of a creepy looking pond, and then the sunfish. But again, those mostly would work um, if you have kind of a see-through thing. It's not that you couldn't add them. You could have like the fin of the shellac like poking up and making it look like there's some fishy kind of swimming in there, but it's going to have a different effect than if you can actually see it, you know, because like the pond is kind of like your outdoor aquarium. You're wanting to have those little fish and stuff showing. Um, I know I've seen a few people do some types of like, I think it was a painting we saw that had some koi, whatever. Working those out, I think that'd be a little trickier because they have specific markings and stuff. Again, the paintings would probably work better for that kind of thing. But again, ducks would be a good critter, frogs, dragonflies, uh, um, trying to think what else. Fish. You could do like a cat or a little puppy if you want instead. It's just I'm thinking more of, you know, the ones that you would typically, you know, recognize as being next to the pond. You could do some butterflies if you want. Not quite sure what you would make those out of, to be honest. Other than maybe some Orin windows, like maybe the leaf window would work good for a three-dimensional. I tried to use that for paintings once, and it was a little awkward because of the shape of it and everything, but you might could get away with that. Um, Again, though, the insect stuff, like with the dragonflies and the butterflies, typically those are pretty small, so you'd want to find something that shows up pretty good at being a small size. Um, so yeah, I think that's pretty much. I mean, can you guys think of any other critter that you would imagine would fit in this little scenario? If you don't want to do like a little critter pond like this with lily pads and stuff, you could make a little fishing pond. Add some, a little, like a really tiny miniature little dock if you want, just using some like decking pieces or something. Like put out one of the short ones and use that as like the little dock, and then have like a little bucket with some bait and then like a fishing pole just right outside there. You do it like that. Depending on the size, you could make it like add some kind of swans. That's a good one. That'd be another fun one. For the swans, you could probably use the snowy clumps and stuff to make that. Should work pretty good. Um, I mean, you could like maybe if your pond is a little bit bigger, rather than having it with stones or maybe part with stones, you could also use like one of the sandstones for like sand, have a little bit of a beach. Just like really enlarge it and then bring it down and it'll look like a little patch of sand. And then have a little beach, like a little beach towel and a little parasol or something, or maybe somebody's working in the sand making a little sand castle. You could have your own little summer little pool thing here instead of the stones. Do it that way. So like out here. Mhm. You could make a bridge out of this, rather than having a pond, you could just have the like a little bit of a small stream going through the property and do like a little bridge. Seen lots of versions of those using staircase landings or pillars, depending on the theme that you're going for. If you're going for something simple, I would probably stick with like decking pieces and things like that. They seem to work really well, but um, the hover part pieces work really good too. Just adding in some different shades of green rather than leaving it all dark. Kind of helps tone this down a little bit too, since that's so bright against that blue. I might move this more to the center. No, I prefer kind of leave it away. This feels kind of funny sitting out there. But if you don't want to do like the fishing thing, you could just leave it like maybe this is where they feed the ducks or the swans or something like that. And have a little food bucket. I don't know. The hanging fruit kind of looks like dog food to me, but oh, the beavers. I think you mean the beavers, the ones that make the little dams and stuff. Yeah. Really, any kind of uh, animal. I mean, you could, if you really want to get into like nature, you can make a big brown bear or something that happens to be catching fish at your little pond or your little river or something. But yeah, beavers would work. That would be kind of interesting, especially if you have, this is more kind of garden yard type thing. But if you're going to have like your little cottage or whatever, cabin or whatever you want to call it, like out in the woods, it'd be really easy to like set up like uh, a little beaver dam with some beavers there. I can't think of anything in particular that might be good for using for a beaver creation other than maybe the sandbags since they're already kind of brown. Um, but I'm sure, given some time and just experimenting with different items, you could probably find some that would work really good for that. But like you can maybe have a little baby black bear or something climbing in a tree, or there's all kinds of stuff. I mean, we could put bunnies out here if we wanted to have a little white bunny rabbit. Like especially like if you decide to do like a vegetable garden, little bunny rabbit, or if you're looking for like some yard ornaments, rather than trying to do the duck statue, you could try and make a little garden gnome, or I was gonna say something else and now I forgot. Like bunny rabbits, uh, the garden gnomes. Let's see, really just about anything. You could put up a little deer. Uh, but like for like if you're doing like an actual vegetable garden, like a gopher, maybe you have some gopher holes out there. Um, Bunny rabbits would be good, like a little Peter Rabbit kind of scene where he's digging up the carrots or something. Um, Trying to think what else. Turtles. You could just make set up a tree and like put a little kitty cat in it, a little orange tabby or something that's stuck in the tree. There's really just depends on your interests. Maybe you have a fave animal that you want to sneak in there somewhere. Um, just keep in mind that when you're doing three-dimensional critters, it's much tougher, as you could see from the duck statue we tried to make. It looks fine from one direction, but not so fine the other way. The frog, I think, turned out a little better, but I think that's because the item I was using for it is pretty much mirrored no matter which way you're looking at it. Uh, the stones that I use for this is a little bit more difficult. I'm sure if I use like spheres you know, two domes stuck together to make the head and the body. That would probably work a lot easier. In fact, you could do like say you want to try that. It'd be back to like the little statues that we did before. Put a bush on the other side. Yeah, I could do that. Um, or just build up the rocks to make it look like somebody carved a duck in it or something. I guess that could work. Um, Yeah, you can color shift any of the cabin bits that you want. I just didn't want you removing any of the pieces. So if you want to change the color of the roof to something else, I just didn't want to suggest that because that does cost either gold or service tokens. I don't want people feeling like they have to do that. If you want to, that's perfectly up to you. If you decide you don't mind the cost and want to color shift every single book that's laid in here, you know, go for it if that's, you know, your interest. I just didn't think that would be something most people would want to do. But yeah, you can color shift it. That's perfectly fine. Just don't remove it. That's the main deal. Okay, so I'm going to turn this. Let's start a new set real quick. And then we'll just kind of show this as an example, and then we'll probably wrap it up for today. Um, just make a new one, I guess. We'll just call this Stone Duck. Add link set. I'm just gonna shrink this, I guess. He's got a big butt there. Let's try that again. Oh, oh, is it still? It's still messing up, I guess, with the different colors. It almost looks like a caterpillar or something. Maybe I just need one piece. Oh, no, that's right. I don't know, it's just not quite looking right, is it? Maybe I have him sucked down too far. Let me link that up first. Yeah, that is a pain trying to reinstall it and everything. Okay, let's see. I do this. A little too big on his eyeball there. Even that looks a little funny, but is that 5? I don't know if that looks right or not. Almost like he's got a really big toothy grin going. That's not quite right. Really need more like this thing here, but more uniform. Not quite sure how to do that other than to just leave it like it is. But there's a little bit better. At least it looks okay from both sides. It's maybe not quite the right shape and position, maybe. Quite sure what I'm doing wrong there. Um, honestly, or I'm not really 100% sure on that. I think there's, I want to say in the thread of Katya's add-on, she discusses how one can uh, save the actual individual character files that comes with it. I don't know all the logistics as far as where the files are located. I think it's the oh, what's it called? The app data, I think is uh, something about app data. It's let me see if I can find it. Uh, no, that's not it. Yeah, I think it's app data, and there are some things that are saved per what do you call it? per account, but then there's certain things that are saved per character. And like if you go into it, if you go into the app data section, wherever that is, um, then you should see a listing of the characters. If you make a backup copy of those, I think that might ensure, have them in a different subfolder or whatever before you do the reloading it on there. But I think this is where the sets are saved. My best advice is, unless you're talking like full-on plot builds, um, if you have like smaller sets that you for sure don't want to lose, I would definitely save them off onto Word documents like I do for mine. But the actual, like if you do, like say you have a winter plot that you got rid of, but you still have the set for the 2,500 pieces or whatever that you use for it. I think those should be in the app data that comes with that particular character, whatever character you had it on. I think. Again, I think she discusses some of that in the actual thread in the forums, because I want to say someone else asked something similar about trying to back up their files before they reinstalled the game because they were having trouble with, I forget what it was, but they were wanting to ensure that if they did backups of the app data for each individual characters, if their sets would still be there. And I think she explained it in that thread, but I can't remember the exact details of it. Because typically what I do is if I'm going to save a full plot set, if I want to make sure I don't lose it, remember that you can break that down into mini sets, like save just the entrance section and another section and just break it down. That's one of the reasons why I like building in small little bits, because that's easier to save as a complete structure than if um, you're trying to save the whole thing. Because again, the exporting and importing doesn't work for X amount of decor. I think there's a limit of like 250, 300 or something. Because the code just becomes too long. Um, but I'm pretty sure that it's that way, because I think there was also an instance where someone wanted to um, copy some sets of full builds from one region to the other. Because I think this was she did with uh, when she had, I think it was like one of the golf courses or something. She brought that over um, by copying the original app data file, I think, and bringing it over to the one that she put on for EU. I think that's how she did it. Honestly, though, she's a wizard at that stuff. So, if you're in doubt and you want to make sure 100%, I would just reach out to her. Probably the best way is, well, she's not real good about checking her email, so I'm not sure if that's reliable, but you might try reaching out to her through forum PM. Um, it may take a little bit though. It depends on how active she's, playing and stuff. Yeah, well, you could always uh, save it to a doc file and then like get what do they call those things? Those drives, thumb drives, and stick it on there. We do that sometimes, especially for getting ready to do like a whole reformatting or something. But yeah, the Oran domes or any other kind of stony dome that you want to make it look like rocks or whatever, I would use that for sure rather than this weird looking half duck, like mutant duck statue. I would probably go with these because that looks a little cleaner and it's easier, it's more consistent looking, from all directions. All right, Bones, you have a good day. And I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up, guys. I hope this gave you some more ideas, especially for those of you that might decide to put some kind of a water feature on your plot, um, on this particular little project, not necessarily on your plot. But yeah, there's, you don't have to do water critters. That's just something that I was thinking of doing for this one, and I think that's what we'll stick with. I'll decide later if I'm going to stick with which kind of duck bird thingy that we're doing here, and try and finish setting it up. But I think we're going to be leaving it kind of at that because I don't want to fill it up too much. I need to decide too which one of the trees I'm going to move over. I think I'll put one here. This looks like a good spot, just off the side. Probably this one here. And I might actually copy it, put it in a few other places just so it kind of ties it all together. But we'll see. But that's going to be it for today. Hope you had fun. I certainly did. It's always, interesting to see if we actually are able to put anything together by the time that our time is up. But one of those deals. um, okay, so remember tomorrow is house tours. So if you don't join for anything else, be sure and visit us for that. I don't know how many houses we'll get to. I've been kind of trying to keep things under the 2-hour mark on Wednesdays. It's just easier because the way the exporting goes from Twitch to YouTube, it's easier on me if I can keep it within the 2-hour mark. That way I only have to export one particular file rather than having to break it up. But I know folks really like the tours, so it's very tempting to go past that, which we have done a lot in the past, but I'm kind of aiming to try and keep it at the 2-hour. It really just depends on how talky I get as far as the plot we're looking at and how much detail is, needs to be covered and everything. So we'll see. But of course, be keeping an eye on the calendar as far as those of you that are working on your cottage projects. We are at the exact 1 week mark. This time next week, we will be doing the showcase tours for that. Remember again, if you haven't confirmed what character you're building or working this on, be sure and reach out to me to let me know specifically what the character name is. That way I know who to visit when the time comes. I think I only know about of the three, 4 or 5 that we have working on them. I think I only know about 2 for the specific names. So be sure and let me know the information on that. I expect some of you are probably waiting until you're done so you can give me any other extra information you want, but just don't forget to give me that stuff before the day of. And then, yeah, we'll be doing tours tomorrow, and then we'll be back on this particular plot build Thursday and Friday. Do I know yours? Let me see. Let me check real quick. I have a little file. I've got like files for everything. Let's see. Yours is Callista, right? Yeah. Yep, I got that one. I've got yours, I've got Maddie's, and I've got Gypsy's. Poi, I'm not sure, and Lay is working on one as well. So I'll have to find out. I suspect I know which one Lay's is, but I'm not positive. And I can't find any note of where Poise might be, so. But yeah, just get me to that. Give me that info whenever you can, and we'll go from there. So have a great day, guys. Thanks for joining, and I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.